Big Daddy. I heard that.
Good morning. How's everybody doing today? Awesome. Thank you for coming out today. I really appreciate it. And I want to apologize first off because the universe gave me a little bit of a kiss last night. Have you guys ever experienced that? Like the night before a sporting event, you break your leg, or getting sick before vacation? Well, last night I was feeding my little baby and I'm like getting up and so I got a little pinched nerve going on. So if I don't look at people over here, it's not because I don't like you. Frankly, actually, there's a lot of attractive people over here. So I'm a little screwed. But seriously, welcome. Welcome to the 2012 Seattle Film Summit. So if you have a stake in the future of the Washington State film industry, I think you've chosen the right place to be today. This summit is really about our community. It's about our industry. It's about you. So to start off, I just wanted to give out some thanks. We wanted to thank Adam Sekuler and everybody here at the Northwest Film Forum for graciously hosting this event. We wanted to give a thanks to SIF and Washington Filmworks and the Office of Film and Music for helping make this summit a reality. Also wanted to thank Dustin Casper for being somebody who really championed this event. He can't join us today because he's off traveling the world like a jerk. Just kidding, we love Dustin. So I also want to thank our panelists and our delegates and our moderators for really sharing their time and their expertise with us today. And then last but not least, actually most importantly, I want to thank you guys for deciding that today was an important place to be at. Because I truly feel that it's your voice, it's your passion, and it's your drive that's going to create change in this state. So, that being said, we are very fortunate to have quite a group of panelists today. In no particular order, and I'm going to butcher some names, so I apologize if I do. And just go ahead and speak up and say, "You got it wrong, Ben." Matt Hooper, Steven Salamunovich, Jennifer Roth, Chris Swenson, James Keblis, Amy Lillard, David Schulman, Beth Barrett, Mark Lipsky, Adam Sekuler, John Sino, Forrest Gibson, Chris Comte, Duncan McFarland, Megan Griffiths, Richard Malzahn, David Ayala, Ben Dobbins, and Matt Bensel. That's a lot of names. And I just realized something. You know, if I could have mind control and control these 20 people, I could actually rule the world. I have to think about that. So, important thing to know, these panelists are not getting paid to be here. That being said, they're not here to promote their products either. Actually, they're here because they want to build a better future for filmmakers in the state of Washington. They're not here to talk at you, they're here to talk with you. They're here to share with you, to learn from you, and work out solutions together. So, the Seattle Film Summit is supposed to be a place where we can feel comfortable to ask all the tough questions, any tough question. Questions like, how can we develop innovative methods of storytelling, funding, and distribution? How can we cultivate a robust film industry in Washington State that provides good paying jobs for Washington film residents? And most importantly, truly, what is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? I'm sorry, I couldn't. Thank you. Sorry, I couldn't resist. I was already starting to feel like a politician up here. So, now, that being said, is today just an opportunity to talk with industry experts? No. Each panel today is obviously being filmed, and each panel has designated note takers. What we learned today at the Seattle Film Summit will be compiled into a living charter that will be presented to our community, our industry, and our governmental leaders. We aren't here to just talk, we're here to affect real change. So, let's dive into the matter. Each of our featured panelists were asked to prepare a short response to one question. And that question is, name one thing that the Washington film community can realistically improve upon within the next year. And I'm going to kind of cherry pick who I asked this question of. I wanted to read everybody's bios, but man, I'd be up here for an hour because you guys are all ninjas. So let us start with Forrest Gibson. However you want to do it, brother. That's one thing I want everybody to one second, Forrest. I'm sorry to just put you. I just wanted to remind you and everybody else that today is really an informal day. I mean, there is no actual rules. We're just, other than don't kill anybody or fight with fists or words. Anyway, I'll shut up. So, Forrest, do you want me to re-ask that question?
Sure.
Okay. What was the question? Name one thing that the Washington film community can realistically improve upon within the next year.
So, I would say that my answer to that question is pretty simple. The execution of it is not necessarily simple, but I think it's something that significant strides can be made within the next year. And what I'd say is this: get in bed with the tech industry. Seattle is one of the fastest growing tech markets in the US right now. Hopefully we catch up to Silicon Valley pretty soon. But we have some of the biggest tech companies here. Some of the biggest ones are opening new offices here. And all of this talent, all this technology is being built in Seattle. And what we really need to do is figure out how to work with them. In terms of if you're in video for marketing or for client work, people are looking for integrated experiences. When you make a video, the video is not just a video. It doesn't just go somewhere. You make a film. It doesn't just float out into nothing. It has to live somewhere. And more often than not, it's living online. And more often than not, the experience isn't just static. It's not I sit here and we're in the audience and we just watch this film. It's interactive. Some of the biggest campaigns, and even some of the creative work that's coming out, is interactive. And even if the video itself is not interactive, the experience around it or how you get to it is becoming interactive. And the way you make it interactive is through development. You have to be able to build software. You have to make an iPhone app that's going to play your movie. Maybe you have a new creative idea for telling 30-second stories. Well, you can't show that in a movie theater. People aren't going to drive to a movie theater to watch a 30-second film, but they might every week pull up their phone and watch your 30-second film. And that's what I would say is the one thing that we can really make it an improvement on and move towards in the next year is getting in bed with the tech industry, which is, I feel like we're siloed right now. We need to work together and create media that can be distributed through technology.
Can you tell us who you are and what you do?
Cool. My name is Forrest Gibson, and what I do is I work on web series. I work on viral video production. I work with Cheeseburger, which is one of the Cheeseburger. Got some Cheeseburger class members here. Working with them to develop new ways of entertainment, of humor, especially in their case. And a lot of this is done through the internet. So last week I produced an iPhone parody video that's at 6.5 million views right now. It was the third most viral video in the world last week. So that's my background.
Yeah, Forrest also directed a music video. Has anybody seen that? We're NASA and we know it?
Yeah.
There we go, Forrest. How many hits is that up to now?
2.5 million?
Oh, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Digital, transmedia, whatever. All right, so let's go to you, Amy. Amy is the executive director of Washington Filmworks
I am.
and pretty much a agent of change in this town as far as I'm concerned.
Super badass.
Yeah, super badass ninja.
Well, thanks for inviting.
Thank you for coming.
I want to take a second because I always sit up here and talk, but the generation of ideas that comes from Filmworks is a team of people, and our staff is here, or some of them. Where's Julie? Julie. And where's Chris? And I didn't see Jessie, but Jessie's here too. These three ladies are incredible. So, like I said, I always get to sit and talk, but they're equally part of the change. So, what's the question?
Oh, yes. Shit, I don't know.
And I have two favors about today.
Sure.
Okay.
It's your day just as much as it is.
So we're here to listen. You know, when we first started talking about the generation of this idea, you know, we're the state film program, but we are here to listen. We don't often get an opportunity. We're often up here talking about our platforms and what we want to do and things like that. We want to listen, but we also want it to be constructive. So as you are in your sections and our staff is, you know, I'm going to go and our staff is going to go, my request is that it remain constructive. I'm sure you'll probably get to this during the day, but we really want to take what we learned today and implement programs and things that make sense. So that's my request. What can you do?
Name one thing in the Name one thing that the Washington film community can realistically improve upon within the next year.
Okay. So many of you know me, and many of you know me well. And you know, I am constantly in a position where I'm saying we have no lack of creativity. We have no lack of talent and vision and, you know, just incredible content creators, filmmakers, directors, things like that. What we don't have here, and I think that we can realistically improve upon it in the next year, is we have a creative bubble but not a true understanding of the business of film. This is my personal soapbox. Most of the programming that comes out of Filmworks to date has been surrounding the business of film. You know, it's great that you're creative, but how is that project getting seen? You know, is it being funded by your parents? Is that a viable strategy? You know, once you make a product, how are you bringing it to market? Are you using a sales agent? Are you using a lawyer? You know, I think this creative community in general has seen the business of film as an indictment of the creative process, and I think that's a bunch of bullshit. So that's me being candid. That's what I would like to see happen over the next year, and if we can help facilitate that, so that your projects can get seen and out into the world so you can get your next, I think that's a pretty good goal.
I'm going to just touch on that. Amy brought up an excellent point. You know, today is about the problems. We've identified a lot of the problems. We know a lot of the problems within our industry, but today is not necessarily a bitch session. It's, as we approach these topics and we get into these panels and we're asking questions, I would, as Amy would, just encourage everyone to be really solution focused. And that's a simple way to ask those questions with solutions in mind, not just venting in mind. So, that being said, let's go to Beth. Beth, another super industry ninja. Beth Barrett is the director of programming at the Seattle International Film Festival and has lots of wonderful credits. Do you want to talk about yourself?
No, I don't really want to talk about myself. Actually, I don't. I want to talk about you guys. I want to talk to you guys. And one of the things I think we can actually do this year in our community is build and support our infrastructure. So, as Amy said, we've got the creative talent. You guys are all here. That's not the problem. The problem is that we have all of these different ideas, And we have a lot of organizations like Northwest Film Forum and SIF and the Screenwriters Guild, and lots of people are doing lots of classes and, you know, meetups and programs and, you know, 2-week intensives at the film school. And they're all over the place. We have the infrastructure, but we need to support it in order for it to grow, because that's how education is the building block of everything. It's the building block of how we move from, you know, knowing that we could turn on the VCR to knowing that we could turn on the, you know, did I just really date myself by saying that? But, you know, it's like, you know how to turn something on, and then you know how to make a movie, and then you know how to make a movie that goes out into the big world and stuff. But it all happens through education, and I think that we have all of these things starting, but we need to all support them and not just say, oh yeah, no. And this is the perfect example. Oh, it's like, oh, we're all just talking to each other. We're all, you know, the film summit. It's all okay, so it's all the same people in the same room talking about the same things, but it's not. Because I think that every time we all get together and we all support something like this, or a screenwriting class, or a class on acting, or a class on how to work in 16mm animation, we learn something, we take our community just that much further. So it all exists, and I think that there's so much further we can go with it. So that's what I think we can do.
So why don't we go to you, Adam? Adam Sekuler,
Sure.
Program Director at the Northwest Film Forum.
So Ben actually didn't, he neglected to include me on that email, which Beth pointed out to me. I was like, what question are you talking about?
Surprise!
Anyway, I do have an answer, fortunately. I think actually an event like this is exactly the kind of thing that can take us in the direction that, bringing together all these different organizations and all of the people in the filmmaking community here, creating some sort of collaboration between the organizations, between the filmmakers, letting you get to know each other, letting you get to know each other's talents and what you have to offer each other, and what the different organizations and experts in this community have to offer you. I think that's something that an event like this takes the first step towards, but we can continue to build on that after today. So, thank you.
Thank you. I should be mean and just throw Steven right up here right now, but I'm not. Matt, you want to come on up? And I just met Matt today too, so Matt, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to talk about yourself a little bit before you get into it.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I'm a lawyer, so most of you can turn off your ears now. Yeah, exactly. No, I chair the media entertainment group at Foster Pepper, work with a lot of our local filmmakers here. The biggest thing that I've seen over the last few years here in Seattle is kind of what Amy said, which is not understanding the business of film, and in particular, the importance of our investor pool here in this region. Because if investors keep losing money, they're going to stop investing in film. And if they stop investing in film, your films are dead because you have no money. And that's a big problem. And so how do you solve that problem? Well, you need to understand distribution. And you're going to have some great experts today who are going to tell you a little bit about digital distribution and the direction that's heading. But you need to really understand how to reverse engineer your projects and to look at things like, okay, I'm making a movie about blank. What is the genre? Okay, what is the foreign market appeal? Is it an appeal where I know I can go get pre-sales at AFM? Is it a genre where I'm not going to be able to make any pre-sales? I'm going to have to rely on my domestic market. Well, what's my domestic market? What's my distribution strategy? Am I going to festivals? Am I going to go to markets? Am I going to try to take it up to Toronto? Well, Toronto wouldn't fit if you have a domestic marketing strategy. If I'm going to use domestic, am I going to go to a sales agent? Am I going to try to sell it direct? If so, good luck. It's very, very challenging to do that. You know, how am I going to gain notoriety for my films? If I'm going distribution, is it better if I go with a $100,000 minimum guarantee on a film that cost me $500,000 to make with a 35% distribution fee and no cap costs? Or is it better that I instead go, sorry, I'm on a soapbox, but or is it instead that I better go with no MG, right, no minimum guarantee, but take a 20% fee with a $50,000 cap fixed cost? What is going to return money to my investors? And really think about your projects that way. You know, I have a great art film, but what do I need to do in order to turn it into a bit more of a commercial film? How do I generate that? So always think, the way I describe it is reverse engineer your film. You have a great topic, you have a great subject, how am I going to reverse engineer it? Everybody always says, I can't get talent and thus I can't get distribution. Not true. You just need to really come up with a strategy for how you're going to get distribution and then build your film around that. And if you do that, there are projects left and right today that are being made for $800,000 in equity that have a $2.7 million budget because it's all being reverse engineered against foreign sales, tax credits, tax rebates, as Amy knows inside and out, and that's what you need to know. And so when I look outside and I see that distribution only has a few check marks throughout throughout all the panels, and I'm doing development, but that distribution has that few views in comparison to production and in comparison to some of the other things that are out there, that is a bit of a red flag to me because we will not have a film community 10 years from now if people keep losing money. And that's my thought.
Okay, Matt, get the high five.
Well done, sir. Where's John Sino? Where are you at, John? You didn't decide to run away, did you? So John Sino, his most recent production, Zombies of Mass Destruction, was released nationally by Lionsgate Films, and he also produces and curates at the Seattle Arab and Iranian Film Festival, and serves on the board of several local organizations.
Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
I guess I'm going to be the contrarian today. I'm a distributor. I've been distributing films for 15 to 20 years. And I have seen the industry really go in very different directions. We are right now in the middle of a huge transition in terms of distribution. All the old systems are really kind of on the way out. And the new systems are not really offering any kind of financial support that the old system were offering. We're kind of in the middle right now. And it's a very uneasy time for many filmmakers. But I guess my point is that I'm going to use the 99% versus the 1% model. 1% of the films really make money. 99% of the films don't really make money or make little money. Film is really not a good investment. Film is an art form. And since we are in this transition, I would like to kind of have us embrace the opposite. Actually go to genuine, local, small budget, and focus on quality, on things that actually mean something to us and to the audience, as opposed to making fantasy films that are generated en masse in Hollywood. The last thing we want to do is follow the Hollywood model. It's failing, it's morally corrupt, and it has not really, it's not just going to produce money. It's made for big corporations to make a lot of money, but not for individual filmmakers, small filmmakers who want to make genuine films. And when I go to the supermarket these days, I mean, I eat organic, I try to eat fresh local foods, and I want my films to be that way anymore. I don't want to watch generic mass-produced entertainment. And since we are in this transition, and since films are not really making that much money anyway, and the distribution models are failing, might as well do the right thing and make good films.
You guys are giving me goosebumps already. So let's go to, how am I doing on time, Ben? Am I good? Keep going. Let's go to David Schulman, the Executive Director of Seattle Film Institute. David. And David also is one of you guys with all these credits that just make me tired.
Hi, everybody. So I think partly, in terms of one thing we can accomplish this year, I think partly generated by this event itself. We were just chit-chatting before the panel started, and I was just thinking this makes me feel really old. But when I was driving up here, I was just thinking of all the organizations that I've been a member of in the Seattle film community since the late 70s. I mean, Washington Film and Video Association. There was a group called SCAM, Socially Concerned Artists in Media. I mean, this goes way. I mean, guys, this goes way, way, way back. And I was just thinking that there's a quality to this to our film community. When I say fragmented, it's like each individual sort of island. There's a real warmth and community within the individual groups. I mean, there's just an incredible amount of goodwill and energy and everything. But for whatever reasons, it's like the islands don't connect with each other. So it has nothing to do with turf or people fighting in that way. And compared to some people who are familiar with the film community in Portland, you know, it does legitimately have a different feel. And so I would sort of second the voices here of really just, I mean, not just in a cosmetic way, but really actively work on ways that we can really bring all of these, you know, all of these groups together. And I'm a guilty party. I mean, I know with running the Seattle Film Institute, you know, it just like takes every breath of my body just to keep one organization going. And then, you know, then you say, okay, how am I to connect with 7 or 8 others? And I think, you know, seeing everybody here, we're just at a point where no matter what happens, we just have to break through and just find a way to do it. So that's what I want to do this year, and I'll even change my job description to help make it happen. And on one other note, the Seattle Film Institute, we're actually moving in to a brand new building this year, and we're having a sort of sneak preview open house this Saturday. And so there's brochures for the Film Institute just out in front, and it has the address. You know, we're over in Inner Bay, sort of across from the QFC there by the Red Mill Burger. And so it's a construction site, but we're having free workshops and an open house just next Saturday. So it'd be great to have all of you there. Take a look at the school, start building community, and I'm just looking forward to today. Thank you.
Thank you, David. So let's get Mark up here. Mark Lipsky, who again has a Hugo, man. It's nice meeting you, brother. Thanks for coming.
Hi, everybody. First of all, let me just say that it is John, right? Yes. What John just said about filmmaking is the smartest thing I've heard anyone say in many years. So ditto. And really, really pay attention to what he said. And that saves me having to say it. So instead, I'll say that I think something that's very important to me personally is what I'm going to suggest and recommend that happen in this community to the degree that it can and as quickly as it can, which is storytelling mentorship. And so going beyond just you guys in this room and people like you and down to grade schoolers and junior high schoolers who have grown up in a world where independent film to them means movie and TV stars and millions of dollars and Academy Awards. It's not fair to them, and it's not fair to their potential audience. And many of them will never try because the wall seems way, way too high and unbreakable. So what I would recommend that the community does and the people in this room do is mentor young people about storytelling and about what a powerful medium film is and what an artistic medium film is, and that anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. You dust off the camera in the closet and you go make a movie. So between organizations like Washington Filmworks, civic, the Office of Film and Music, there's got to be a way into the schools, and if nothing, maybe a pilot program even the second half of this school year. I can't think of anything more important than that from a community standpoint. That's it.
Thank you, Mark. We're glad to have you here today. Is Chris Swenson or James here yet? Or are they showing up a little bit later? Chris Swenson, are you out there?
I know they said they
Let's get Steven down here.
might be.
Steven Salamunovich. Tell me I didn't butcher that. We all know, probably everybody in here knows Steven. He's one of the most respected casting directors, respected people in town as far as I'm concerned.
I think there's about 3 casting directors in town. That should be noted.
So, Steven, did you get? We're just asking everybody this question, which is, name one thing that the Washington film community can realistically improve upon within the next year.
That's a great question.
You don't have to be right.
Well, first off, I've really responded to what I've heard thus far. I think everybody has a specific hand